Good evening. You are with us on DD India. Welcome to Express News, where we update you on all that's making news from across the country and the world in a quick, succinct manner. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Let us begin. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today spoke to Russian President Vladimir Putin on recent developments in Afghanistan. Both the leaders had a detailed and useful exchange of views on Afghanistan's situation. In a tweet, Prime Minister Modi said they also discussed issues of the bilateral agenda, including India-Russia cooperation against COVID-19. India today said that stability in Afghanistan is linked to peace and security of the region. In his statement at the 31st Special Session of Human Rights Council on the serious human rights concerns and situation in Afghanistan, Permanent Representative of India to the UN, Indramani Pandey, said that the current situation prevailing in the country is of great concern to India. The government today said that 78 more people, including 25 Indian nationals, have been evacuated from Kabul. External Affairs Ministry said that an Air India flight is en route to Delhi from Dushanbe in Tajikistan, carrying 78 passengers. The NEA evacuees were flown in from Kabul on an Indian Air Force aircraft. Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri today received the Sikh Holy Book of Sri Guru Granth Sahib brought from Kabul in Afghanistan at Delhi airport this morning. The minister carried the Holy Book. The minister was present at the Delhi airport to welcome the evacuees from Dushanbe via a flight that returned after rescuing Indian citizens from Afghanistan. Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri today said that a total of 626 people, including 228 Indian citizens, have been evacuated from Afghanistan till now, adding that the number of Afghan Sikhs who have been evacuated is 77. The minister thanked Prime Minister Narendra Modi for carrying out the rescue operations. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu today launched the Vaccinate India program, an initiative of Sustainable Goals Coordination Centre, Government of Karnataka, in collaboration with Give India Foundation in Bengaluru. The program aims at educating the masses about the necessity to vaccinate and clear misconceptions about vaccination. Speaking on the occasion, the Vice President said that vaccine is the most effective shield against COVID-19, urging the medical fraternity in general and the Indian Medical Association to take up special awareness campaigns to educate the people about the safety and importance of getting vaccinated against COVID-19. The first batch of multi-mode hand grenades manufactured by Economic Explosives Limited, following transfer of technology from the Terminal Ballistics Research Laboratory of the DRDO, was handed over to the Indian Army in the presence of Defence Minister Rajnath Singh in Nagpur. Addressing the gathering, Rajnath Singh termed the handing over as a shining example of increasing collaboration between public and private sectors and a big step towards self-reliance in defence manufacturing. Union Minister of Road Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari today chaired a meeting of the 9th Group of Infrastructure Committee in New Delhi. Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia and Railway Minister Ashwani Vaishnav are also present at the meeting. Union Education and Skill Development Minister Dharmendra Pradhan and Union Minister for Social Justice and Empowerment Virendra Kumar today jointly launched the booklet on one-year New Education Policy 2020 achievements, along with some other major initiatives of the New Education Policy 2020. Union Minister Narayan Rane has been detained over his remarks against Uddhav Thackeray. Rane's lawyers moved the Bombay High Court. Former Maharashtra Chief Minister and BJP leader Devendra Fadnavis have slammed the Maharashtra government for using the police to suppress the opposition in the state. In a major development, 30 MLAs of the state Congress chief Navjot Singh Sidhu faction, including 4 ministers, are seeking the removal of Punjab Chief Minister Amrinder Singh after the CM targeted Sidhu's advisors over their remarks on Pakistan and Kashmir. Stepping up their attack on the Congress over the controversial comments by its Punjab leaders on Kashmir and Pakistan, the BJP has alleged that it reflected the opposition party's divisive and anti-India approach. Jammu and Kashmir Police has informed that 3 unidentified terrorists were killed in an encounter in Sopore, and arms and ammunition besides other incriminating material have been recovered from the site of the gunfight. INS Airawat arrived at Tanjung Priok Port in Jakarta, Indonesia today to deliver 10 liquid medical oxygen containers based on the requirement projected by the government of Indonesia on completion of disembarkation of the medical supplies, and as part of the ongoing mission Sagar, INS Airawat will continue onwards to deliver medical supplies to other friendly nations in the region. Union Minister for Minority Affairs Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi today said that Mera Watan, Mera Chaman Mushaira will be organized in New Delhi on 28th of August as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav of 75 years of India's independence. He said that renowned poets will present their poetry and couplets on the celebrations of India's independence while remembering the sacrifices made by our great freedom fighters. Niti Aayog and World Resources Institute India jointly launched the Forum for Decarbonizing Transport in India as part of the NDC Transport Initiative for Asia project. The launch was held virtually and inaugurated by Niti Aayog CEO Amitabh Kant. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin announced in the Legislative Assembly that the DMK will set up a memorial to the Chief Minister Karunanidhi at Chennai's Marina Beach. The memorial will be set up on 2.23 acres at Marina Beach at a cost of 39 crore rupees. The memorial is to be built with modern light films on Karunanidhi's life. The 30-share Sensex on Tuesday rallied 403 points to end at a lifetime high of 55,959. The 50-share Nifty also surged 128 points to a record lifetime peak of 16,625. Gold prices on Tuesday fell by 19 rupees at the MCX to end at 47,565 rupees per 10 grams. Silver prices on the other hand surged by 134 rupees to end at 63,061 per kilo. The Indian currency on Tuesday inched up 3 paise to close at 74 rupees 19 paise against the US dollar. Brent crude, the global oil benchmark, increased 1.34% to $69.67 per barrel. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, after holding meeting with the CBDT, interacted with Mumbai CGST and Customs Zone Revenue Secretary Tarun Bajaj was also present at the meet along with Chief Commissioners of different customs zones in Mumbai. India has emerged as the second most sought-after manufacturing destination across the world, according to Cushman & Wakefield's 2021 Global Manufacturing Risk Index report. India has surpassed the US as the world's second most desired manufacturing hub. Around 58.89 crore vaccine doses have been administered so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. This has been achieved through 65,03,493 sessions. 25,467 new cases have been recorded in the last 24 hours. The active cases now account below 1% of the total cases, which is the lowest since March 2020. India's active caseload stands at 3,19,551, which is the lowest in 156 days. The recovery rate has increased to 97.68%, which is its highest since March 2020. 39,486 recoveries have been recorded in the last 24 hours, increasing the total recoveries to 3,17,20,112. Also, weekly positivity rate, which currently stands at 1.90%, is less than 3% for the last 60 days. Daily positivity rate, which currently stands at 1.55%, is less than 3% for the last 29 days. Testing capacity has been substantially ramped up with 50.75 crore tests conducted so far. After emergency use approval was granted to Zydus Cadilla's COVID-19 vaccine in India, the company and doctors have expressed thanks and support for the decision. Digital COVID-19 vaccination certificates will now be issued to the clinical trial participants of Covishield and Covaxin through the CoWIN initiative. The participants can download their individual certificates through the CoWIN portal, Arogya Setu, DigiLocker or the Umang application. World continues to battle COVID-19 pandemic. So far, over 21 crore 33 lakh and 46,000 cases have been reported so far, while recovery stand above 19 crore 90 lakh and 11,000. The deadly virus has claimed over 44 lakh and 54,000 lives. United States remains to be the worst hit nation so far. Over 3 crore 88 lakh and 14,000 cases have been reported, while the death toll in that country stands above 6 lakh 26,000. The US Food and Drug Administration on Monday fully approved Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine, a move expected to trigger a new wave of vaccine mandates as the Delta variant batters the country. US President Joe Biden urged unvaccinated Americans against the coronavirus to get their shots after the Food and Drug Administration granted full approval to the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. The Pentagon is preparing to issue updated guidance to require all US service personnel to be vaccinated after Monday's approval of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine by the Food and Drug Administration. New York's Mayor Bill de Blasio said that the city's health department will issue an order mandating that all 148,000 staff members in the United States' largest school district get at least one dose of a vaccine by September the 27th. Bangladesh reported 117 deaths and 5,717 new cases of coronavirus in the country on Monday. The Health Ministry of Bangladesh, the Health Minister of Bangladesh, Zahid Malik, announced in Dhaka that Bangladesh will vaccinate about 80 million people if it receives the expected 160 million doses of the vaccine by December this year. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern on Monday extended the strict nationwide COVID-19 lockdown till August 27th, saying that the current outbreak of the Delta variant of the coronavirus had not yet peaked. Australia's New South Wales reported a dip in COVID-19 cases after witnessing a record high the previous day. The state's Premier, Mr. Gladys Berejiklian, has vowed to ease restrictions for fully vaccinated people. In Kenya, hundreds of people from the iconic Maasai community lined up outside vaccination centres to get their COVID-19 vaccine jabs. As per the Kenyan Health Ministry, only 2.9% of the community's population has so far received the shot. US troops led an increasingly desperate effort to airlift thousands of people out of Kabul after the Taliban warned they would allow foreign forces to carry out evacuations for just one more week. About 50,000 foreigners and Afghans have left the country from Kabul's airport since the Taliban swept to power 10 days ago. As countries across the world repatriate their citizens from conflict-torn Afghanistan, Japan has ordered its self-defense forces to evacuate stranded Japanese nationals from the country. The SDF will airlift Japanese nationals' ground staff at the airport and those working for international organizations and Afghans working for the Japanese embassy. The US House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff has said he thinks it is very unlikely the evacuation of Afghanistan will be completed by an August 31st deadline. Leaders of the G7 advanced economies are expected to pledge unity on whether or not to officially recognize or sanction the Taliban with their virtual meeting underway. The United Nations Human Rights Council held a special session today to address the serious human rights concerns and situation in Afghanistan. Nazahat Shamim Khan, president of the 15th cycle of UNHRC, initiated the special session. Michelle Bachelet, the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, said that the Commission is receiving harrowing reports of human rights violations from Afghanistan. She also gave grim figures of those forced to flee and relocate due to the fear of reprisals by the Taliban. Bachelet said that the onus of keeping the promises made regarding upholding human rights rests squarely with the Taliban leadership. She further said that red line for the commission would be treatment of women and girls by the regime in Kabul. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and US President Joe Biden have agreed to work together to ensure all those eligible to leave Afghanistan were able to, including after the initial evacuation phase ended. Both the leaders during the telephonic conversation discussed the situation in Afghanistan and the ongoing evacuation process in the war-torn nation. People across the globe are coming out on streets to show support and solidarity towards Afghan people. In Buenos Aires, demonstrators protested outside the Argentine Chancellery, holding Afghan flags and demanding Alberto Fernandez's administration not to recognize the Taliban government. A dozen of women gathered outside Mexico's Foreign Affairs Ministry in Mexico City to show their rejection of the Taliban's treatment of women and girls. Mexican women also called the government to speed up refugee applications for Afghan citizens. In Brazil, firefighters battled to control a blaze at Juquere State Park in the state of Sao Paulo. Fire authorities said that there are 3 active fires in the region. The infernos have destroyed more than 1,200 hectares of land. As per the local authorities, dry weather and high temperature have sparked these fires. In California, firefighters launched backfire operations in a bid to deprive the Caldor fire of fuel as the blazes destroyed agricultural land for the 9th consecutive day. Firefighters in Grizzly Flats were seen setting the foliage and ground alight in order to create a perimeter for advancing the wildfire. In US's flood-hit Tennessee, rescue teams with trained dogs searched for around dozens of people who are reportedly missing. The torrential rain and flash floods have claimed at least 21 lives over the last weekend. Storm Henry lashed the southern New England in the United States with high winds and drenching rainfall. US National Hurricane Center said that the storm was carrying top sustained winds of 65 miles per hour. Climate activists near Leicester Square in England blocked traffic, demanding an emergency response from the government against polluting industries. The activists chained themselves to a car and a giant pink table erected in the middle of the street. The changing of guard has returned to the Buckingham Palace for the first time since the start of the coronavirus pandemic last year. The old guard of Nijmegen Company Grenadier Guards was replaced by the new guard of the 1st Battalion, the Coldstream Guards. The guards were replaced with musical support from the band of the Coldstream Guards and the band of the Scott Guards. The tradition at the Queen Elizabeth's palaces in London and Windsor, which usually attract sizable crowds of tourists, were postponed until further notice in March 2020. Grape farmers in Germany's Rhine-Hesse are expected to have a good harvest this year. In Weiss, the early ripening Solaris variety has been harvested in the Palatinate. Wine experts are also happy and do not see any cause for concern, though the degree of maturity is around 2 weeks behind the usual schedule. Nevertheless, the year 2021 has not been an easy year for wine growers so far. In the mountain kingdom of Lesotho, one resort is attracting tourists seeking a more adventurous skiing destination. Tourists are thronging to the enclaved kingdom tucked into South Africa's Drakensberg mountain range to enjoy skiing in the snow. Snowboarders can be seen camping and skiing in the mountain range covered in dense snow. Parents with children have rushed to Drakensberg mountain range to enjoy their vacation. A bunker built by German troops in northern France during World War II has been given an unlikely new lease of life as an underground guest house welcoming history buffs and visitors after remaining buried for years. Amid this, a bunker enthusiast, Serge Collieu, bought up a plot of land in the area and spent 18 months digging out and renovating the 400 square meter bunker, turning it fully functioning rental, complete with a bar area and a cozy living room. On the flanks of Europe's largest mountain, the Mount Blanc, the ravage of climate change can be seen more vividly and starkly than anywhere in the world. On Mount Blanc, the glaciers have been melting at a record rate. Video shows some of the key sites around the Mount Blanc massif, which spans France, Italy and Switzerland. Rain has fallen at the highest point of the Greenland ice sheet in the Arctic for the first time on record, while temperatures have also risen above freezing points. An extremely rare occurrence. The rain fell at the ice sheet's 3,216-meter summit, where temperatures remained above freezing point for around 9 hours. About 7 billion tons of rain fell between August 14th and 16th, the largest amount since records began in 1950. Abnormal rainfall is an evidence of rapid global warming in Greenland. The Greenland ice sheet covers an area of nearly 1.8 million square kilometers, second only to the Antarctics. Self-driving startups like Cruise and Pony.ai have started testing of their driverless cars in some parts of California this year, with an additional feature, human drivers. While there is no driver behind the wheel, there is a safety operator in the passenger seat who has a red button that can stop the vehicle just in case anything happens. Still with the story, the operator will be removed next year when Pony.ai, which has backing from Toyota Motor Corp, plans to deploy the driverless ride-hailing vehicles in select areas in California. Still, a remote operator will monitor vehicles and provide guidance when the vehicles run into trouble. The Colombian city of Medellin came into full bloom as scores of florists descended on the city's stadium for a colorful flower festival with a local twist. Celebrating the art of floristry, flower enthusiasts marched on the stadium's grounds to show off elaborate floral arrangements, or cilitas as it is locally known. Many of these arrangements drew inspiration from the pandemic, with the traditional parade called off in 2020 due to coronavirus. Tokyo 2020 Paralympics starts with a boom at Tokyo's Olympic Stadium in Japan. Prime Minister Narendra Modi conveyed his best wishes to the Indian Paralympic contingent and encouraged on the occasion of Paralympic opening ceremony. Tek Chand was India's flag bearer at the opening ceremony after Thangavelu Mariyappan was quarantined following close contact with a COVID-19 positive person on their flight to Tokyo. Though Afghani athletes and representatives could not make it to Tokyo for the Paralympic Games, Afghanistan's flag was carried as part of the opening ceremony parade as a sign of solidarity. In the early afternoon, Japan's Air Self-Defense Force aerobatics team Blue Impulse soared overhead in a display held ahead of the Paralympic Games opening ceremony. Olympic bronze medalist Bajrang Punia will not compete in the upcoming Wrestling World Championships after being advised a 6-week rehabilitation to treat his ligament tear. Vice captain of the Indian Test cricket team Ajinkya Rahane gave a befitting reply to the critics, saying that such things encourage him and he never gets bothered by criticism. The third test between India and England is set to be played at the Headingley Stadium on August 25th. Liverpool has refused to release Mohamed Salah for Egypt's upcoming World Cup qualifying matches because of coronavirus restrictions. The two singles champions at this year's US Open will earn 35% less than in 2019, while the prize money for qualifying and the first 3 rounds of the main draw will rise as part of an overall increase. Ahead of season 5 of Money Heist, Netflix India has come up with a recreated version of the show's title track, Bella Ciao. The video features Anil Kapoor, Vikrant Massey and Radhika Apte, among others. Actor Siddharth Malhotra, who is currently basking in the success of his war drama Sher Shah, has started filming the new schedule of his another film titled Mission Majnu. The wait is over for actor Kangana Ranaut's star Thalaivi, which has finally got a release date. It will now be released in theatres on September the 10th. Singer Jubin Nautiyal has released his new romantic song titled Khushi Jab Bhi Tere. The song has been shot amidst the scenic locales of Leh and Ladakh. Global star Priyanka Chopra, who is currently shooting for a project in London, marked the 71st birth anniversary of her late father, Ashok Chopra, with a special cake. After its trailer was leaked online on social media, Marvel has unveiled the much-awaited trailer of Spider-Man No Way Home. The movie stars Tom Holland and Zendaya in lead roles. People attending the latest edition of the Toronto International Film Festival may be required to show proof of full vaccination or proof of negative test of 48 hours prior to entering the venue. Hollywood star Ryan Reynolds has thrown his support behind LeVar Burton's ongoing campaign to host Jeopardy following EP Mike Richards' exit from the podium. Mayim Bialik will be the first guest host of Jeopardy now that Mike Richards has stepped down. The Big Bang Theory alum is scheduled to tape 3 weeks of episodes. And American rock band Aerosmith has announced a global alliance with the Universal Music Group. The band, whose hits include Walk This Way with Run DMC and I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, will have their entire discography given to the UMG. And that's it in this edition of Express News. We'll be back again tomorrow, same time, with the top 100 news of the day. Until we meet next, take very good care of yourself. Stay masked, stay safe. Namaskar.